Krishna in Lord Krishna. Lage become fixed. Sudruda, very firm. Manasa, the mind. Translation by His Divine Grace S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. A sincere student should not neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial, for such discussions strengthen the mind. Thus, one's mind becomes attached to Sri Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. There are many students who, in spite of reading the Bhagavad Gita, misunderstand Krishna because of imperfect knowledge and conclude him to be an ordinary historical personality. This one must not do. One should be particularly careful to understand the truth about Krishna. If because of laziness one doesn't come to know Krishna conclusively, one will be misguided about the cult of devotion. Like those who declare themselves advanced devotees and imitate the transcendental symptoms sometimes observed in liberated souls. Although the use of thoughts and argument is a most suitable process of inducing an uninitiated person to become a devotee, neophyte in devotional service must always alertly understand Krishna through the vision of the revealed scriptures. The bona fide devotees and the spiritual master. Unless one hears about Sri Krishna from such authorities, one cannot make advancement in devotion to Sri Krishna. The revealed scriptures mention 9 means of attaining devotional service, of which the first and foremost is hearing from authority. The seed of devotion cannot sprout unless watered by the process of hearing and chanting. One should submissively receive the transcendental message from spiritually advanced sources and chant the very same message from one's own benefit, as well as the benefit of one's audience. When Brahma described the situation of pure devotees, free from the culture of empiric philosophy and fruitive actions, he recommended the process of hearing from persons who are on the path of devotion. Following is the footstep of such liberated souls who are able to vibrate real transcendental sound, can lead one to the highest stage of devotion, and thus one can become Mahabhagavata. From the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami Adi Lila, 22.65, we learn शास्त्रयुक्ते सुनिपुण दृढ़ श्रद्धा ज्ञानिर उत्तम अधिकारी से तारय samsara. A person who is expert in understanding the conclusion of the revealed scriptures and who fully surrenders to the cause of the Lord is actually able to deliver others from the clutches of material existence. Srila Rupa Goswami in Upadesamrita number 3 advises that to make rapid advancement in the cult of devotional service, one should be very active and should preserve in executing the duties specified in the revealed scriptures and confirmed by the spiritual master. Accepting the path of liberated souls and association of pure devotees enriches such activities. Imitation devotees who wish to advertise themselves as elevated Vaishnavas and who therefore imitate the previous acharyas but not follow them in principle are condemned in the words of Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.24 as stone-hearted. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had commented on their stone-hearted condition as follows. Bahirashru pulokayo satorapi yat dharyam na vikriyata tat asmasaram iti kanistadhikari inam eva ashru pulakadi matva api asma sara hridayata nindaisa. Those who shed tears by practice, but whose hearts have not changed, are known to be stone-hearted devotees of the lowest grade. Their imitation crying induced by artificial practice is always condemned. The desired change of heart referred to above is visible in the reluctance to do anything not congenial to the devotional way. To create such a change of heart, conclusive discussion about Sri Krishna and his potencies is absolutely necessary. False devotees may think that simply shedding tears will lead one to the transcendental plane, even if one has not had a factual change in heart. But such practice is useless if there is no transcendental realization. False devotees lacking the conclusion of transcendental knowledge think that artificially shedding tears will deliver them. Similarly, other false devotees think that studying books in, of the previous acharyas is unadvisable, like studying dry empiric philosophies. But Srila Jiva Goswami, following the previous acharyas, have inculcated the conclusion of the scriptures in the sixth thesis called Sat Sandarbhas. False devotees who have very little knowledge of such conclusion fail to achieve pure devotion. For want of zeal is accepting the favorable direction for devotional service given by self-realized devotees. Such false devotees are like impersonalists who also consider devotional service no better than ordinary fruitive actions. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगन ललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पति गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे लीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः. Thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha of Chaitanya Charitamrita discussion. Here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is beautifully saying, Siddhanta baliya chitta nakara alasa, iha haite Krishna lage sudruda manasa. That means the philosophical conclusion or the Siddhanta or the basis should not be compromised by pure devotees. We should discuss, we should counter discuss, but we should never neglect the principle of understanding a very high subject matter, such as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And such discussion of understanding about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, strengthens. Strengthens means sudrudha. Sudrudha. Sudrudha is also an English word you might have heard. Means your determination to understand Krishna consciousness should be there in the mind. Manasa. Manasa means in the mind. Brahmaji is uh, is often referred as the Manasa Putra. That means he's created by the mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami is using the word Manasa. Manasa is the mind. So in the mind, we should deterministically, sudruda, we should be very firm, we should be very determined in understanding about Siddhanta. Siddhanta means philosophy or conclusion. So that's the subject matter today as to why Siddhanta or philosophy about Krishna consciousness is important. If it is not important, at the time of crisis, our body will tremble. If you think every time you do anything and we try to take the pride or try to take the outcome of the activity we have done, it it looks good because you have done a hard work and you are trying to take the credit for it. But at the end of the day, if you look closely, it's a very cheap thing. And that is Siddhanta. When you do a great thing, right? Why humility is important, we'll discuss why Siddhanta, why the philosophy of humility is important. See, you sometimes do a festival and you think the festival has come out well because of your hard work. But actually, if you see, when you do a festival, you already have established temple. The deities are beautiful. The devotees come and join the festivities. Then we have the prasadam by itself. It's powerful. So there are so many things which has gone in to making the festival successful. But you, by virtue of your false ego, thinks that by virtue of you, it has become nice. Sometimes when you try to make kheer, for example, kheer, you made it beautiful and you want to take pride, you want to showcase, you want to thump your chest and say, hey, you have done a great job. But look at kheer. Milk has come from Gita Nagari farm, the best milk you can ever think of, the first cruel free creamery in the United States. The milk is not white in color, it's yellow actually, if you look closely. The milk is good. God has given such beautiful process by which the natural gas is made into cooking gas and it is served to you. And then you have a beautiful, Samsung or whatever cooking range, and you have got beautiful utensils. And through the process of your learning from the cookbook you may have had, you have got the nice recipe. And you have just, mix things. Of course, there is some aspect of credit, but think about a higher level. The aspect of cooking a nice kheer has to do with, at the end of the day, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you want to say that, hey, you have made beautiful buildings. The buildings are standing on this nature which is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you see the handiwork of everything around you in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Siddhanta or the conclusion that understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead and having that humility and surrender mindset is important for all of us, and not take credit in little things, is because there is handiwork of the Supreme Personality of Godhead everywhere. And when you go deep into the subject matter of bhakti, you realize that when you join Krishna consciousness, you have a full license to take credit because your knowledge is limited. But as you spend more time, you realize the credit of anything you end up doing, there is somebody else who has done the job for you. You have nothing to do. You have done nothing really, if you think about. The God has come, the God's festivals, God's devotees are there. They all join hands. The individual's management ability is negligible considering the fact that you have become more Krishna conscious. So the feeling of we trying to do anything in a big way, without me, nothing could have been done, this, that, and all. As you become more Krishna consciousness, you realize how insignificant you are and how significant the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is a philosophy Srila Prabhupada is trying to say here, that this philosophy of conviction that we have infinitesimally small and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is infinite will be felt more and more as we spend more and more in Krishna consciousness. Whenever you try to do some Krishna consciousness activity without full determination, without full conviction, and you are given the ask of talking or ask of giving a discourse without spending much time in Krishna consciousness, it will look very fluffy. It will look as if you have not realized it and you are trying to do it. So that's why seeing Krishna's hand in everything we do is a basic siddhanta. We have to streamline in our mind. We have to solidify in our mind. And that the more you spend time in Krishna consciousness, you realize how much less you know. Because you have got the knowledge, you realize it by yourself that you have become so insignificant. Initially, people are very puffed up joining Krishna consciousness. They want to do something, they want to take up the mic, they want to speak. But as you speak more and more, as you understand more and more about Krishna and this and how vast he is, and that siddhanta, that conclusion will become more and more solidified in our mind. Sudruda, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, Sudruda, and that will be done through repeated discussion, repeated hearing. And Srila Prabhupada is going on talking about the first thing is about hearing. More and more you hear, more and more you'll understand the Siddhanta. And that is where I want to give example of this milk. Milk is very beautiful actually. Milk is should be taken to give energy to all of us. But if that milk is touched by a snake, however yellow, however great the milk is, you would not like to touch because that has become poisonous. Krishna Katha, Krishna consciousness, when heard from a pure devotee, it is it is not impregnated with mundane activities, not impregnated with mundane thoughts. That is why Krishna consciousness come very nicely. But you might have seen there are devotees who are kathakars. They will come and they will explain about Krishna, having Ras Leela right from the 10th canto without going from 1 to 9. It will hear very well to you. It will hear very well to you. But actually, in Srila Prabhupada's words, it is like taking poison, as you were seeing the picture over here. The milk is touched by the snake. So it is not the fancy words, it is not something which you hear and which makes you feel good. That is apparent. And that is the reason why these Kathakars, who are not Krishna consciousness, they are not regulated. Some of the best singers of Krishna Lila or the best singers of Krishna bhajans, they do not take to regulation. They take alcohols. We all know some of the biggest uh, singers we know they resort to alcohol. They have not taken to Krishna consciousness. Hearing for superficial liking is one thing, but understanding, as Vishwanath, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, the Siddhanta and Sudruda, he is using these two words. Siddhanta, the conclusion, and Sudruda means we have to be very firm. It may appear that we are having, which, yes, very nice question on the chat as well. We'll talk about it. Isn't speaking about Krishna, you gradually become pure? You are, you can. But actually, for everything, we have to give time. Sometimes when you want to bake bread, but sometimes because you're in a hurry, you increase the heat so that you think that instead of giving 30 minutes at 200 degrees centigrade, you can give 10 minutes with 300 degrees centigrade and the bread will be baked nicely. But actually, if you look at it, the bread will become hard because you're impounding heat at a very high. So we have to give time, and once you speak, once you start speaking, your realization will sink in, and once the realization sink in, you become better and better and better, and you talk with conviction. You do not talk with English words jammed around you. You talk with conviction, and that is what Srila Prabhupada has said. Even if somebody is not very flowery, he's not using nice verses, but he is realized and not to hear from Kathakars. Srila Prabhupada talks about many of his peers when he was in Radha Damodar temple. Many of his, Babajis around Radha Damodar temple were not regulated. Srila Prabhupada didn't overwhelmingly uh, decry them or rather, defame them in any way, but he understands purity is the force, and whenever there is purity, Krishna Nam, as mentioned in the chat, purifies, but we have to give time. And this understanding can only be realized by a pure devotee. And for that, we have an example here. Why Krishna is supreme, we have to understand with this beautiful sub. So, as you can see, there is the churning of Mandara mountain happening. You see? So, there is one side, there is Mandara mountain. Of the Mandara mountain, they wanted to churn. Okay. So, you see, the Mandara mountain needs to be churned. But the demons and demigods could not get it. It is so heavy. So the Lord has to come and get the Mandar mountain and place it in Milky Ocean. Vishnu gets the mountain and place it in Milky Ocean because both demon and demigods they could not lift Mandar mountain. So you see the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in getting the mountain. And then how to churn? There's not a big rope which can go around the Mandara mountain. And when that rope is not good enough, Lord has to instruct the greatest snake, Vasuki, for churning. Lord's hand again. Once they started churning, Mandara mountain became shaky. Unless you have a strong foundation, you cannot churn. So then Lord has to come with a hard back as Kurma avatar, tortoise, to give balance to Mandara mountain so that the demigods and asuras can churn. So Lord gets the mountain, Lord puts it in milk ocean, Lord instructs Basuki to become the rope for churning. Lord takes the position of kurma or tortoise with a hard back so that Mandara mountain could be stable. And then Vishnu, with thousand arms at the top of the mountain, was trying to balance at the top. From the bottom and top, Lord is balancing. Then also they couldn't churn. Then Lord, as Ajita, Ajita is also a name of Krishna and Vishnu. Then Ajita helps in Krishna. And then finally, when the fight for nectar broke out, Lord has to come as Mohini to distribute to the right party. So you see Lord's hand in everything. And that realization cannot be understood by hearing the personality or the pastime. It can be only realized by spending time in Krishna consciousness. We become more and more realized. We see more and more activities. We see more and more pastimes. We hear a lot of things. And then we become conscious, realized. And after doing more and more, we become confident and we talk less and less and we recognize hand of Lord in everything. If this Mandara mountain pastime would be presented by somebody who has not been in Krishna consciousness for long enough, he will give the impression of the fight broke out, demigods got nectar, they become alive for quite some time, and that's but the aspect of Lord's hand can only be realized, can only be understood by a pure devotee of the Lord. So this conviction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's hand in everything is done through a repetitive process of being in Krishna consciousness, chanting as was rightly mentioned in the messaging, by uttering Krishna's name again and again and again, and spending time in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not a prodigy thing that you spend little time and you can, really. become. And that is why you have the premature renunciation, where you see there are sadhus who go to various different places, but eventually they resort to smoking, because that with the premature renunciation, that desire which was there has not been curtailed over a period of time, and they resort to smoking. And that's the reason why in the beginning of this purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, don't copy. This is exactly what happened to the followers of Lord Shiva. They are just copying the method which Lord Shiva, he is a mendicant, he is Abadut. Don't copy his actions. We should get inspired by Lord Shiva by being a Param Vaishnava and how to serve Vaishnava. So our Acharya has mentioned, don't copy, feel inspired by internalizing this entire Krishna consciousness activity in our life and become sudruda, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning, by becoming more and more determined about the importance of Krishna in our life. Whenever something good happens, attribute it to the Supreme. Whenever something bad happens, attribute it to the Supreme as the remnant or the prasad given. And this, ad, as Krishna mentions, this happiness and sadness is sitosno sukha dukkha. That means this happiness, sukha, dukkha. Happiness and sadness is sitoshno. Shito means winter season. Ushna means summer season. They are just like summer and winter. It's going to go away. So you just take it as a remnant of the Lord. Do your duty, derive knowledge, but give everything to the Supreme. And that's how we're going to recognize. And with that conviction, we're going to strengthen our. That's why Srila Prabhupada, sometimes when these singers come, they sing with beautiful voice. But at the end, Prabhupada doesn't see bhakti. He doesn't get impressed. And to the Kathakars who do not talk about Krishna, from Sarga and Visarga, the primary creation and secondary creation, they straight away go to Ras Leela of the Lord on the 10th canto, where Krishna is dancing. It gives a very wrong impression about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They should start with the Srishti Leela of the Lord rather than the Ras Leela of the Lord. And these are some of the things you understand, or rather, we all understand, when Krishna consciousness is is impregnated in us, and we grow. And that's why Krishna consciousness is very important to be internalized. It should be lived with us, and with that we can have some true appreciation for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I just want to conclude by saying that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is talking about trying to strengthen our conclusiveness, our firm belief in Krishna consciousness. Siddhanta Baliya Chitte Nakara, and Siddhanta Baliya Chitte Nakara Alasa. Alasa means don't become lazy. So that's why Srila Prabhupada says, don't read my books, study my books. When you study, you try to correlate one and two. You try to correlate why Krishna has used the word Dhananjaya in some places, why Krishna is using Gudakesa to refer to the same Arjuna who is referred as Dhananjaya some places, and some places Gudakesa. When you study, when you study more and more, your Siddhanta or conclusion becomes firm and firm, and your Sudruda, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, our faith becomes strong in Krishna consciousness. And we do so we should always be ready to hear, discuss, read, study Krishna consciousness, and that will arouse that sense of determination in the philosophy. Once the philosophy is strong, you'll hear some devotees singing very beautifully from a musical angle, but actually it doesn't give happiness, because he's not singing from the heart. He's not crying from the heart. He's he just a very beautiful uh, player or beautiful. So Krishna consciousness is all about internalizing, experiencing, determining, increasing our determination in our faith in Krishna, so that whatever little we do, we see Krishna's hand in everything. So the example we ended up giving, we may prepare kheer, but we think we have the hand in the greatness of how this kheer has been made. But actually, you see the hand of Krishna everywhere. You just mix something and put some heat around. But actually, the greatest thing is through the creation of Krishna. Beautiful milk has come from Krishna. Beautiful gas in the form of natural gas has come from Krishna. Beautiful um, items, beautiful things have come from Krishna. So you see Krishna's hand in everything. Uh, yes, yeah, and automatically, as Prabhuji or Mataji is mentioning, that by chanting gradually, it doesn't come immediately. Some of the devotees who have experience, like Maharaj, when they end up saying, if you give time by chanting more and more and more and more, gradually the love for the Supreme and the determination in and faith in Supreme will be be very prevalent in our way of life, and we will realize Krishna's hand in everything. And it, as Prabhuji or Mataji and the chat is saying, we should chant all the time, as Maharaj is saying, and gradually with the chanting, the mentality of not taking credit in anything and everything we do and seeing Krishna's hand in everything will set in. And that will happen as you chant more and more, as you serve more and more. Initially, you will be talking more, and finally, you will be quiet, trying to see Krishna's handiwork in everything, in the big one act play, how Krishna is the super director. He's directing all of us, and we are just mere players. As you saw in the Samudra Manthan episode picture, where Krishna is there as Kurma, Krishna is there as Ajita, Krishna is there as Mohini, Krishna is telling Vasuki, Krishna is, trying to be in the multi-handed form at the top, trying to stabilize. Krishna's hand is there everywhere. And the second thing we wanted to talk about, you saw another picture where here from the bona fide source, take the milk from the cow. If the milk is touched by the poisonous serpent, that milk is not good for anything. So hearing Krishna Katha from non-bona fide sources is not recommended, and we should follow Krishna consciousness the way Srila Prabhupada and his great disciples have laid out for us in the prescription, and not to try to concoct or try to create uh, some thought and some process from nowhere, because it's been laid out so beautifully. And Srila Prabhupada's books gives us that comparative analysis between this verse to that verse. And by that, we become more and more strong in our ability to understand Krishna consciousness. So with that, I'd like to end here. Thank you so much for your kind attention. So let's discuss a little bit about how to strengthen Sudrudha, how to strengthen our faith. Faith in what? Faith in the principles or in the conclusiveness of the scriptures, and staying in this topic for today. We don't want to go away and want to stay focused on this subject matter about how to be determined in Krishna consciousness so that our faith in Krishna consciousness increases. So with that, I'd like to end here. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any question or comments, reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. You have explained very well. Nice class. So we understood how much to give importance to the Shastra, go according to the Shastra, find a bona fide guru master and listen to them. Otherwise, you will go in a misguided if you don't do that. So you have explained and strengthened our trust that, you know, whatever guru says is the thing, bona fide guru says. Believe them and go and progress yourself.
Yes, yes, Pantaji. So, a couple of uh, realizations on that note about why Guru is important in our life. Um, Two examples actually. In in Ramayana, if you this example we have discussed before, you know, Lakshman cuts Suparnaka's nose and ears, goes to Ravan. Ravan steals Mother Sita. In the material world, that will not be considered anything bad because you know what? Some people outside they will say, "Hey, you know, Lakshman, who he used physical, torture on the sister of Ravan, and Ravan, as a good brother, did what he. So they will make it equal. They will say there is, it's fine. But actually, if you look at the scriptures, if you look at the Guru, the real fact of Ravana stealing someone's wife is heinous. So that is why we need Guru. And Guru's views are sometimes so heart touching. I think 2 years back in the Sadhu Sangha, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj came, and his body was just giving up, and he was actually mocking at his state of affair. He was saying, "My body is a wreck," and you know, everybody where tears were falling from thousands of people in the assembly. And when he was laughing at his body and how passionately devotees are taking to, so the internal aspects are strengthened by these souls who have spent more time, who have spent more time. And as the messaging is coming, by reading more scriptures, by reading Srila Prabhupada's book, and rather studying Srila Prabhupada's book and doing sadhana, as mentioned in the chat, um, by doing more chanting, by doing more service, devotional service, we'll become more and more determined. Sometimes when you go to different book distributions, it becomes so contagious, it becomes so intoxicating that at the end of the book distribution, you do not want to leave because you see that how Srila Prabhupada's books are getting attraction from common people who have never seen, sometimes Westerners, sometimes people from Middle Eastern origin. When they take to curiosity in Srila Prabhupada's books, you see how much transformation these books are bringing. So, more service, more chanting, more devotional service will awaken our consciousness and will become better and better. It's not the end all be all. It improves what you were when you joined Krishna consciousness and what you are after 5 years, 10 years. You would see it in the same life. You would experience it in the same life. And that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada says, you follow my process, you read my books, and at the end, you will experience it in this life. And some of you would really vote that you who what you were 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and what you are after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, there has been a transformation. And and what is consciousness? If our consciousness can be transformed by having more surrenderness, more humility, more faith in the Supreme, I think you have nailed it in this life. Your 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 desire, or rather your purpose of life is getting fulfilled by strengthening your faith in Krishna in this life itself. So thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing your
Thank you,
thoughts.
Prabhuji.
Any other comments or reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just joined 10 minutes before and I was hearing the conversation and I was, my maybe reflection you can say that there is like, as we are in the Maya, if we don't read Shastra or follow the Guru or Guru Parampara, it's very difficult for us to get trapped in Maya. And also, when the devotees who are in the path of bhakti um, have, like, when they're coming into the transcendental like plane where advancing as it they're advancing, the more and more illusionary energy can also trap. So, which actually act out differently um, um, if we don't pay attention to a shastra and guru, and we tend to accept that it is true. And when it is not evident in any shastra about anything we see, for example, if it is not evident in the shastra or not been heard, one should not accept that, because Maya plays so much different tricks on us that we tend to get bewildered. In one of the lecture, Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj also said there was one devotee went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I saw you and you were saying, something, some story was there. So the Prabhupada said that uh, I think there was some story where he was saying something and Prabhupada didn't accept it, that it was him who came in the dream and why he would say something like that. So he said, if it is not validated in the Shastra and you have not heard in any lectures, do not take it seriously, because Maya is very, very tricky. It just puts you up in a very that place where you get bewildered and you shaken up things. So instead, so I just thought to share that. I was reading also today about the similar concept, discussing with Dada Mataji also about this. So I thought to share something, you know, on this terms.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. So, what Mataji has said, and just to add to what she's saying, see, we are spirit souls. We are not. We're not. We're not the body. We are the soul, right? So we are spirit souls. So we are spiritual in nature. Our activities are spiritual. We are part and parcel of the Supreme. Qualitatively, we are the same, but quantitatively, we are infinitesimal, and the Supreme is infinite. So we are qualitatively Supreme souls. But most of the solutions in our problems are often spoken by a judge or a family member or a senior. They bring in material solutions based on what they have read in newspapers, in novels, in TVs. So we, as a spiritual person, should seek spiritual solutions, but instead we are seeking material solutions. So that's the reason why most of the solutions, you see so many wars going on, so many divorces going on, it's because we are spiritual souls, but we have not taken any tenet from the spiritual activities like you know you mentioned guru sadhu sastra. We have not done anything, so we are day to day life we are maintaining on a mechanical slash material level, trying to. So that's the reason why everything is falling apart. If we as spirit souls resort to scriptures, resort to uh, taking guidance from our guru, all the problems will be solved. But we choose not to do that. So, which is exactly what something you mentioned about Maya is. is prevalent, but we choose not to be controlled by the activities of scriptures uh, in our life. And also, Srila Prabhupada, if so, as the scriptures are the superset of everything, if anything which has happened, you don't find a relationship in the scripture which has been conducted through millions of years of research, and then it probably is not true. So, trying to find an analogy from scriptures and leading a life driven by scriptures would go a long way in solving the problems we all face in this world, because we are spirit souls by ourselves and we choose not to take the spirituality in our mind, and we want to be driven by something we are not. And that's the reason why if you take a fish and put it in land, the fish is going to die. And that's why we're dying every day with the material fire which is burning around us. So thank you for your comment. And any other thoughts from anyone?
So, Prabhuji, this is Kamal. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Uh, so, this is first time I joined your lecture here. I mean, there are a lot of questions, a lot of confusion, comes to my mind when I heard about scriptures, bona fide gurus, and everything related to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that we are spirit soul, and to feed that power or energy or that spirit inside us, we need Harinam, right? So that's, we can say, a food of our soul, right? Somehow I'm very confused about how to keep the what do you say? How to make our spirit soul and our material body coexist without conflicting, without raising any conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you live, right, you live in a material world. You have family, you have kids, you have to fulfill what they need, and not all the time you can follow what is written in scripture. you
Mm-hmm.
know so there are things when you have to go out of way, and maybe you don't get too much time to do seva or harinam. So yeah, different kind of foundation. So how to look at these kind of foundations or problems, right? Because on day-to-day basis you have to maintain a very good balance in these also, right? You just can't. Sometimes you just can't. You don't have time. If you have 24 hours, right, there's a limit up to which you can spend your time in spiritual activities also.
Mm-hmm.
So, but whenever I hear about bona fide gurus or approved scriptures and things like that, then that create more confusion for me.
Mm-hmm.
So because all right, I understand that our scriptures, they are millions of years old, and parampara is going on for a long time, right? Everything is there, but we are in Kali Yuga, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in Kali Yuga, that's why even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada also say that in Kali Yuga, the name is
Mm-hmm.
as big as the God himself. So even if you don't read anything, don't do anything, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
if you just take name, that is more than enough for you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we are taking name, and if we have guru, I mean, if we don't have guru, right? And if we read whatever scripture we can read, or if we listen to whatever is available to us, or we can find, or whatever attracts us more, right? So
Mm-hmm.
is there any harm in doing that, or how
Yeah.
we should look at all those things?
Yeah, excellent question, Kamal Prabhu. So you mentioned three things in my mind. First is Maya is very powerful. And in this world, we live in a family where we have to earn and we have to feed our family and we have a duty to the family. And actually, that is perfect. That the what you just said in the beginning of your question is perfect, because Srila Prabhupada and our parampara has never asked us to go and live in Himalayas or go and live somewhere. So we live in a material world. So we have to live and we have to do the work. So Bhagavad Gita is all about karma, then transcend. When you do karma, you do batting in cricket. But as you do more and more batting, you realize that you're using your mind and your skills to improve it. So that's when jnana comes in. So karma, jnana. So all that, and you have to do it well. Unless you do well in your job, you cannot fulfill. So everything of that, what you said in the beginning, is absolutely we all should do. No one should go to Himalayas, stay in ICNJ, Central New Jersey. But there's one thing which Srila Prabhupada touches on. He talks about higher taste. The only thing, only recipe Srila Prabhupada gives to all of us is to derive a higher taste. When we get into Maya, we get too much into Maya that we love the potlucks on Fridays our friends give us, and we go do house parties. That is a lower taste in my mind. We have limited time now, but it's a very loaded question. So we have to live here. We are spirit souls. We have to live here. We have to do a good job to fulfill the needs of our family. Nobody is going away. Everybody is staying here. But we have to generate a higher taste. That higher taste is when we do the higher taste, the sad aspect of competition and everything will go away, and we generate higher taste in chanting, reading books, associating with devotees, and the whole 9 yards with that. And a time will come, Prabhu. Nobody's asking you to seek guru if you don't need to seek for guru, and you're getting all the answers in your life by yourself. There's no need. But a time will come as you go more and more. I mean, or for that matter, many devotees in this community, they got their gurus after 5 years, 10 years. There's no set limit. But a time will come when, after doing this devotional service again and again and again, as you try to sharpen the diamond and gold, it becomes glitters more and more. A time will come when you seek the guidance of a guru, and that is a natural process. So it's not, that's why in the beginning we mentioned we have to give time in Krishna consciousness, because that spirit soul, over a period of repeated birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, has been dusted, and we have to remove the dust with nice spray, nice, clean and all that. So a time will come you would seek the connection. Why you need to seek the connection is why you joined your university. After you studied grade 1, grade 2, grade, after 10th, you realized you have to follow a process, a process of seeking a bona fide. That's why you joined a university to get your bachelor's. Then you got your master's or whatever you all did. So the point is, this Krishna consciousness is exactly like that. We have to follow after some time, otherwise life will be erratic. So three things: Maya is there, but we need to be in Maya. I mean, be in Maya as in be part of this material world, but have a higher taste. So stay here, derive a higher taste of doing exactly whatever they're saying: ABCD, association, books, chanting, diet. Then, as you clean more and more, as you clean more and more, you realize the importance of a guru in your life. And that will, Krishna will bring you to Guru, and Guru will bring you to Krishna. And that is there. You don't have to hanker for it, because it's not a position. We all are there. It's our journey to Godhead. It's a relationship which is one to one with the Supreme, and it's not a group thing that he got initiated earlier and I got later. It's not a competition of any sort. So did I kind of touch on some of the things you mentioned, or
No,
you
no, I mean,
still?
you on what do you say? You on spot on all the points which I raised, right? Yeah, with me, it's a little different case. So I started my journey with this con way back, like in early 2000, right? So I was very regular when so I'm from Delhi. I was very regular to ISKCON temple in Delhi. That's why I mentioned Srila Gopal Krishna Swami Maharaj. So I was very regular with them. Then after that, I started going to Gaudiya Mutt. and I took initiation from Shri Narayan Goswami Maharaj.
Hmm.
I'm not sure whether you know him or not. Yeah, so everything was fine. I was at the right track, but after I moved here in few years after, especially when Maharajji passed away, then so all my progress, all my journey, it goes into negative after that. Yeah, and I tried few times really, but now I have too many questions, and it seems answers. I'm not getting any answers,
Hmm.
so
Okay. Yeah. So,
it's
Prabhu,
confusing. I think I want to hold everyone here. Maybe I'll reach out to you on
please, yeah.
one on one.
So let's connect. And a couple of things. I remember when I joined ISKCON in 2005. You joined much earlier than me, and
Yeah.
we were doing our program in Marathi Vishwa Community Center. In 2007 or 8, one devotee came, and at the time he was traveling from Texas through New Jersey to Delhi, and he gave the class on Sunday. And in the class, he said that he lost his job and he's going back to his hometown, Delhi. And he spoke about what he's going to do. And a year later, I was coming to Delhi. I see him distributing Bhagavad Gita in Sarojini Market in Delhi. And I met with him, and he said he is fully devoted. Because I said, hey, 1 year ago you were giving a class in our temple. So the point I want to make is we all go through different journeys, and we all get different experiences. And Gaudiya Math is actually with the Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur started it, and you were very much connected with that process. And of course, and you're feeling separation because your Guru Maharaj left. But but all I'm saying is, uh, if you want to reconnect, we can all reconnect. Sometimes we our bandwidths go bad, and after that, internet comes back. So there's no end to our ability to reconnect. And there are many devotees you'll see in YouTube through their, and if you look at their journey, they were in one path, and it's not as if they were in the wrong path. It's just that the road had a dead end or whatever, and you just have to come back and rejoin another road. I mean, there is nothing wrong or right about it. So you just need that reassurance from your guru, the connection. Many devotees, guru, are not there in this world, but they have done so much through their songs, through their work, that they're still alive in their mind. So uh, let's have a discussion, and we have so many senior devotees who can guide you. And our there's nothing like, we all are part of a family where Krishna is at the center, and then his grandchildren, Srila Prabhupada, is there, and he has so many disciples, and it's just a matter of reconnecting. Sometimes when your dad passes away, you find dad in your uncle or your distant relatives, right? So it's just a matter of getting that connection back after. And it happens to with everybody. A lot of times, when Srila Prabhupada left, many of his disciples were very sad for some time, but then they reconnected, and they're still maintaining their Krishna consciousness. Okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, yeah. I'm in this group for years now, but I think this is first time I ever I joined the class. I feel like joining it. I immediately dial in.
Very nice, Prabhu. So connect with any of us and our temple as well.
Sure, bro.
They will definitely guide you uh, in the right way to achieve your spiritual aspirations and sadhana.
Sure.
Thank you for your engaging conversation. Any other comments, reflections? And speaking of some of the messages in the chat, Gopal Krishna Maharaj was doing McGill University in Montreal, and after taking sannyas, he was interviewed by Canada TV, and what a conviction of the response he had in 1970s and so forth. So so when these personalities touch our life, we get strengthened by their conviction. And there is that video, you'll see it in YouTube as well, where the person is philosophically, today's discussion is about Sandarbha and Dridha, and how Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, epitomized that, is seen in that answer. He is as a rebuttal to the TV interviewer. You can see that just responding to some of the comments. And yeah, chanting. If you're chanting with humility, you'll see. I have few pine uh, trees. These pine trees are a pain in the neck. They go with so much of ahankar, and they give pine cones. Those pine cones, they destroy the soil by becoming acidic. But if you look at a mango tree, filled with mango, filled with luscious mango, but it's so humble, so complete. And look at this pine tree; it goes, sharpened up, and it gives so much of maintenance item see, that's exactly what Krishna consciousness is. If you chant with humility, as the first response in the messaging says, if we chant with humility, humility will be imbibed in us, and gradually we'll become more and more humble, and all these anarthas will go away from our life. So just wanted to touch on some of the Srila Prabhupada's books, where books talks about books are the basis, as Srila Prabhupada says. So thank you for your engaging comments and questions. If there is no final comment from anyone, we'll end here. So let's offer our obeisances at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas by saying Vancha kalpataru vascha kripa sindhu vaevacha patitanam pavanevyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo Vaishnavavrinda ki jai Grantaraj Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.